Yeah, Vani, we are
Hey
live.
guys, good evening all. How are you guys doing? Yesterday sir gave us assignment, right? Hope you all have done the assignment. Sir have completed variables, conditional statements and operations on variables, right? Hope you guys completed the assignment. Okay guys, before we start the session, I have a quick announcement to make. Yesterday, as Kriti said, like we have class on LMS, right? We have to register and we have to attend in the LMS. So, due to the technical issues, we have given you two options. Like you can either join in YouTube or you can join in LMS. So, either of the way is fine. It's your comfortable. But don't forget to mark your attendance daily. Certificate will be available if you join in either of the streams. It's fine. Okay, guys, let's hand over the session to the sir. Hi, Saurabh sir.
Yep. Thank you, Vernie.
Thank you.
Hello, guys. How are you all doing? I hope everyone is good. So, yesterday we completed variables, operators, and conditional statements. And today we have in plan loops, arrays, and objects. And let's see how far we can go then. So, this is the plan actually. So, let's see how much we can complete from that. So, I have three things in my mind for today. Okay. So, should we start? Are we excited? Should we start, everyone? Give me a cheer. Should we start then? I think assignment was posted on the community, Shreya. Vani, it was posted, right? On the community assignment.
Yes, sir. It's in the description.
Okay, okay, okay. Don't worry, Anurag. I'll also explain what is NAN. Don't worry. We still have a lot of types to deal with, so don't worry about it. I'll explain what exactly is NAN. Then we also have undefined. We also have null. So we have a lot of things. So I'll explain everything. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Today's session we're gonna cover a lot of things. So don't worry. Okay, then let's start. So first things first, first thing I'm going to do today is I'll show you how to create a separate JavaScript file and how to link it with your HTML file so that you can run it. So yesterday what we did is we embedded our JavaScript code inside the HTML file. Today what we're going to do is we'll create a separate JavaScript file so that we can maintain our HTML separately and JavaScript separately. Now, there's one more thing I want to tell you. There's a lot of confusion when to use what, like when to use this internal JavaScript where we can embed our JavaScript in the HTML page, and when to use the external one. That is, we have a separate JavaScript file. So it totally depends on code and also on your preference. Like a lot of people, even if they have to write 2 or 3 lines of code, they prefer to have a separate JavaScript file, right? So it first of all, it's a personal preference. Second thing, when you have a lot of code, when you have a big code, for sure you should go for a separate JavaScript file. When you feel okay, it's only a function or it's only a 5 4 lines of code, go for, or like always try to go for internal JavaScript. It's totally fine. But again, it's your personal preference. It's totally up to you how you can handle that, right? Okay, then let's start. So what I'll do is I'll create another file today. So I'll close this HTML file and I create one more HTML file for today. So let's create one more and let's name it second.html, right? Okay, and let's okay. Now, if you have installed the HTML, what you call extension that I told you to install in the first lecture, what you can do is you can just go on, open a tag, and just write HTML. You'll get this. Okay, I think even mine extension is not working. Let me just check. I think I will write. Yep, you should guess this one, HTML5. So if you just write HTML and press tab, right, you'll get this one. Or you can just press Control Space Bar. You should get this one, right? I'm again explaining you. If you have installed the HTML extension that I told you on the first day, just write HTML. You'll get this. If you don't get this, just press Control Space. You should guess the options. Once you get the options, just go on HTML5 and press Enter, and you'll get this boilerplate code, the already ready-made code for yourself. And it has a few things with it. I'll explain you afterwards what are these. Even if you remove them, that's fine. I'll explain you what is meta tag and what this doc type is doing. I'll actually directly explain you so that there's no concern about this in the future. Okay, so what I'll tell you is Doc type HTML basically specifies that this is an HTML5 document. If you remove this doc type HTML, now it becomes an HTML4 document. So if you keep doc type HTML, that basically specifies that, okay, fine, this is an HTML5 document. Okay. Second, language En, that stands for English, that basically says that, okay, whatever you're writing here is holds like is written in English language. That's all, right? And then you have meta tags. Now I'll just explain what are meta tags first, so that you understand what exactly meta stands for. Meta stands for metadata. That basically says, okay, metadata is something like information about your data, information about anything, right? Like just let's say you like I'll just give you an example. Let's say you buy a book, right? You buy a book. Inside the book you have all the data, but in the front page of the book you have a little bit of information about the book, what the book is about and what you'll find inside the book. So that is the information about the whole book at once. So that is metadata. Exactly in the same case, you have meta tags in HTML, which basically specify the information about your web page, your HTML page. That is all. That's all what meta tag does. So if it does not like give anything, any output, so don't worry about it. It's just for browsers understanding. It's just for search engines understanding. I'll explain about meta tag like once we reach some level. I'll explain you how to use it, what are different meta tags, what are the attributes that you can put in meta tags. So don't worry about that. Just for now, it is here that's why I'm explaining. It just holds some extra information about the web page. That is all. So even if you remove it, it's totally fine. It's not like the you don't you mandatorily have to use it for now. Okay. So that's it. That's what it. Language, because you're using English language. Doc type HTML, that specifies this is an HTML5 document, so that the browsers can understand that this is a HTML version 5 document. We remove the meta tags, but you just have to know that they just hold extra information about your web page. That is all. Okay. Okay, Aditi, you have a good doubt actually. Difference between HTML4 and HTML5. So it's like there's not a lot. It's just like it's an improvement. Some new tags have been added. Like in HTML4, like now HTML4 is very old. So in HTML4 there were no audio or video tags, but in HTML5 you have audio and video tags. And there are few properties that also have been added, like email. So there are few properties and there are few tags that have been added in the new version. So that is HTML5. In HTML4, audio and video were not supported. Email property was not supported. Few CSS properties were also not supported. In HTML5, all those things are supported. So it's just like an update. That's all. It's just like an update, right? Still, like there are a lot of old websites that are on HTML4, right? So there's nothing like HTML4 has like HTML5 is a completely changed thing. It's not like that. Only there are few new tags added, there are new few properties added, right? And some new CSS properties are also added. That's it. That's it, right? And you just have to write doc type HTML just to specify that this is an HTML5 document, because there are a lot of websites that are also having HTML4, so that the browser should identify easily which one is HTML5 and what are the features that I should give to the document, which is HTML4, and what are the features I should give to the document. That's why it's just for browser understanding, so that the browser can easily understand what kind of document I'm using. That's all. That's what doc type HTML does. Nothing about the output. So don't worry about it. Okay, when will be the next update? Even I don't know. Let's see if we have some new tags and all. Maybe it will be there. Okay. Kriti, a lot of people are asking attendance form is not opening. Can you please look into that? Okay, guys, I've asked Kriti to look into that. She will check it and tell you. Don't worry about it.
Yes, sir, it's active. They can refresh it.
Okay, you can refresh, guys, and you can see it will work for now. And the Terminator HTML4 still works. So don't worry about it. HTML4 still works. As I told, a lot of old websites are still on HTML4, so it still works. So don't worry about it. Okay, now let's move ahead. Let's create a new file. Now it will be a JS file, a JavaScript file, and the extension for a JavaScript file is .js. So let's give it a name as same as the file, second.js. Okay, so now we also have a JS file. Now this page is completely used to write JavaScript code. You cannot write HTML tags, you cannot write CSS, you only write JavaScript here. That's all. Or jQuery. Again, I said that jQuery is nothing but JavaScript library. So it's totally same. So you can either write JavaScript or write like anything related to JavaScript, you can write here. Okay. Now The second important thing, how to link it, how to tell this JavaScript page that, okay, your HTML page is this one, this second.html. How to tell? It's again very easy. Again, go to the end of the body, write the same tag, script tag. But now, instead of writing anything inside script, what we are going to do is, we have an attribute in script tag, that is src, that stands for source. And then inside that, you can link your second.js, and that's it. Just write the path of the file, and that's it. And now your JavaScript file has been linked. Now whatever JavaScript you write here will be reflected on this HTML page. And now let's check it. Let's check if this works. So let's run this HTML file again. I use my trick. I just copy path. Okay, let's take a browser window for you. Okay, open your favorite browser. I have Chrome here, and then I just go inside and paste it. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll just right click, inspect, and open the console. Shantilal, for that, like your doubt is how to, like, a lot of browsers don't support HTML5. First of all, a lot of latest browser, they support HTML5, but if they are not supporting that, for that you have to make changes in the code for browser compatibility. So that is like some other thing that you have to do. So like you have to make changes in your HTML code, CSS code for browser compatibility. So that is like a thing that you have to do. It's not direct. If it is not directly supported, there are a few things that you have to change so that all the browser supports your document. So there are a few things that you have to do. Okay, again, let's go on the console, and now let's, just to confirm, let's do a very basic console.log to check if the JavaScript file is properly linked and it's working. Okay, so let's just say hello. Okay, now let's just go on, refresh, and here you go. So that basically says, okay, your JavaScript file is perfectly linked, and now we are good to go. Now we are good to code. That's totally fine now. Okay, now let's start. So the first topic for today is loops, right? We have loops. I think you can see my font size, right? Should I zoom it, or is it visible perfectly? Or should I zoom it a bit? I think this much is fine, right? I think this much is fine. So I'll just comment this out. Okay, again, so the first topic for today is loops. Now, just to get your definition, what exactly is a loop? So it's like, loop is something that basically has the ability to repeat your code. That's all. Loop is like, loop statements are something that has ability, or that have ability to repeat your code, multiple times. That is all. That's all what loop does, right? It basically executes your code again and again. That is what. And basically, when you learn loops, you also learn how to stop it after some time. So that is something that we'll learn. But you just have to understand the basic definition of a loop is, in programming, is loop is something that executes your code again and again, continuously. It executes your code again and again based on a condition. That's all. That is all. Loop is something that executes your code based on a condition again and again. It repeats, continuously repeats. That's all, right? So basically, it's something like this. I'll just give you an example, like, what do you say, a rough example, what it does. So let's compare it with if, so that it is easily understandable to you. Now, what happens in if is, you write if, right? Then you write condition, right? You write some condition, and then inside that you have some code, right? This is how if works. This is how if works, right? So if, then condition, then your code. Now what happens in if? Your condition is checked. Your condition is checked. If it is correct, it will come inside, execute the code, and then it will move outside, and then it will move ahead. That's what happens in if, right? Checks the condition. If it is correct, come inside, execute the code, and then move ahead. If it is wrong, if the condition is wrong, it will directly skip the block and directly move ahead. This is what happens in if. Now, there are some similarities between if and a loop. That's why I like just compared them. Now let's say you write the same thing, but instead of if, now you have a loop. Let's say you have a loop, and again, loop also has a condition. Like, conditions are also very important in loop, and you know what are conditions? Some comparison. That's all. Greater than, less than, equal to, some kind of comparison. Now again, what will happen? Same thing. Let's say instead of if, now I have a loop. Now again, what will happen? Same thing. First, your condition will be checked. Now, if it is false, same like if, I'll just go outside and move ahead. If it is false. But now if it is true, I'll come inside, execute the code, same like if. But now there's a difference. Now what loop does is, loop does not let you go outside. What it will do is, it will again move the execution control to the condition. Do it again. That is the main feature of a loop. That is the main feature. It repeats itself. That is the main feature. You just have to understand the definition. Don't go theoretically. Don't just read and say. This is what you have to understand. Loop repeats itself. They are made for this. Condition is checked. If it is true, come inside, execute the code. But now it will never let you go outside. What it will do? It will again take you to the start of the loop and again make you check the condition. Now again, if it is true, come inside, execute the code. Again, it will take you up. Again, check the condition. Again, if it is true, come inside, execute, again take you up. Now again, if you check, now if it becomes false, like by any means, by like let's say we do something, we change something, by any means, if it becomes false, it will just go outside. So that's how you exit a loop. You have to make the condition wrong. You have to make the condition false. Any, like, you can do it by like anything, by writing some code, by doing anything. If you want to exit a loop, you have to make the condition wrong. That is the feature here. If you want to exit the loop, you have to make the condition wrong. Yes, exactly. If you, that's what I'm saying. Like now, if you don't make the condition wrong, it will run forever. Those kind of loops are known as infinite loop, right? It is an infinite loop. It will run forever. Yes, exactly. It will run forever. Okay. Now, so that is the difference. Like in if, condition true, execute, go outside. In loop, condition true, execute, again go on the condition. Again, if it is true, come inside, execute. It will repeat itself again and again till the condition is false. So now let's see. Okay. So now, just like if you wanted to write conditional statements, you had a keyword named if that helped you to write conditional statements. Same for loops. You have basic 3 keywords. If you want to start writing loops in JavaScript, there are 3 keywords available that you can use to write loops. There is something called as while. This is a keyword that will help you to write loops. Then you have something called as do while. This is again another keyword, another inbuilt functionality that will help you to write loops. And then you have for. Now there are some more, but I'll explain you that thing later on. So these are 3 main keywords that are almost available in all programming languages that will basically help you to write loops, right? No, Shantilal, there is no difference between iteration and looping. It's same. It's same. Iteration basically means repetition and loop does iteration. So basically you can say, okay, there is a difference. Loop is basically the thing and iteration is what loop does. So iteration is basically work of the loop. So either you can say looping and iteration are same. Yes, Ashish, yes, exactly. If it is infinite loop, the website will get stuck. So that's what you learn, right? That's what we are going to learn in the whole course, how to manage it. Even if like there are a lot of things that you need an infinite loop for, but you just have to understand how to manage it, right? A lot of tasks are also done on infinite loop. There are users of infinite loop, but you have to just understand how to manage it. Okay. Okay, then let's start. So first one that we are going to learn here is while. So let's move ahead and let's write while. Okay, as I said, now you need a condition here. Now whenever we need a condition, but basically means you have to write some variable, some comparison, like, right? Like, okay, a is less than 5 or 6 or 7, right? So again, if you want to use a variable, first you need to have it. So let's create a variable. So let's say we have a variable named var num that is equal to 1, right? Normal, just 1. And now let's check it. While num, just like if num, same, while num is less than 5. So just consider like if num is less than 5, execute this console.log hello. But instead of a if, this is a while. Instead of a if, what is it? It's a while loop. It's a loop basically. It's not a if, it's a loop. So basically what it will do, now what it will do, okay, check while, okay, num is less than 5. Yes, 1 is less than 5. Come inside console.log hello, and after execution again go up. Now check, num is less than 5. Yes, num is still less than 5 because num is never changed. Num is still 1. Again console.log hello. It will never go outside. Again up. Num is less than 5. Still less than 5 because num is still 1. So let's check it. So basically now you can understand that this is an infinite loop. Num is never changing. So this is an infinite loop, right? Let's confirm it. And this is an infinite loop, like we can see it, right? So let's confirm this. Let's just refresh the page. Now you can see that, right? You can see the changing numbers. It's an infinite loop. It is never going to stop till my browser hangs or till my browser is actually hanged here. You can see the slow load now. So that is what is happening, right? Okay, now I think I have to close my browser because just to show you I did this. Okay, so let's close it and I'll open one more. You can also wait and kill the browser. That's totally fine. But I just closed it and let's copy the path. Oh, I forgot. I have to change the code first. So let's do one thing. First, let's just comment the code so that it does not run on the load. And now let's move ahead and do it. Okay, let's open the console. Okay. Now, what we have to do to stop a loop, as I told you in the start, to stop a loop, what you have to do, you have to make the condition wrong. That is very important. To stop a loop, you have to make a condition wrong, right? So we have to find a way to make this condition wrong. So what we can do is now, we can just go down here and make num equals 5. That's all, right? Like if our aim is to only make condition wrong, this is how we can do it. While, right, num is less than 5, perfectly, 1 is less than 5, come inside, console.log hello, and in the next step, make num equals to 5. So now num becomes 5. Now I go up and 5 is less than 5. That is false. Loop ends. That's all. That's how you make the condition wrong. Change the value of the variable that is present inside the condition. And that's how you make a condition wrong. Right? So let's see now. It should be only printed one time, right? Because loop is happening, like working only one time. And now you can see it. Here you go. Are we cleared? Now, what I have to do if I have to make this loop run 2 times or 3 times or 4 times or 5 times, because now what is happening, it is only running one time, right? Because I'm directly making num equals to 5 and the condition is wrong. So what I can do is now I can do something like this: num equals num plus 1. I can do something like this: num equals num plus 1. Now what will happen? Now see, num initially is 1, right? So I'll check, okay, while check num is less than 5. Yes, 1 is less than 5. I come inside console.log hello. Hello will be printed. Num equals num plus 1. So num was initially 1. 1 plus 1 becomes 2 and it goes again inside num. So what will happen? Num will become 2. And now if I go up, 2 is still less than 5. I come inside console.log hello. Again I go. Now num is 2, right? So 2 plus 1, 3. Now my num becomes 3. I again go up. 3 is less than 5. Perfect. Hello. Same. Num becomes 4. I go up. 4 is still less than 5. I come inside. Again. Now num becomes 5. And now I go up. Condition becomes wrong. So now basically my loop runs 4 or 5 times, right? So that's how it works. So now it totally depends on how you change your variable. You change it one by one, you change it by 2, you change it by 3, you change it by 100, you change it by, you directly give the value. It totally depends on you. So now basically, depending on this variable, we can specify how many times we want to run our loop, and that's it. That's how you make your loop run. So now see, now the hello has been printed 4 times. That basically means my loop ran 4 times. Okay, so this is how a loop works, right? Are we clear with this, guys? Are we cleared with this? Guys, are we cleared with this?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
There is a question from Classic Cartoon. I don't know the correct name, but yeah, like for is used for iteration, then why while loops are introduced? That's the
I'll tell
question.
you. Once you complete all the loops, I'll tell you the difference. Don't worry. It's again like depends on preference and a proper need. So I'll tell you, don't worry. I'll tell you when we complete all three, you'll understand what exactly, like why are there 3 loops available in the world. When you understand the difference now between the 3, you'll easily understand. So I'll tell you, classic cartoon. Don't worry. Now,
Okay, sir.
by
Thank
this
you.
way, I can either do increment by 1, like it's increment because I'm adding numbers. if I do subtraction, that is decrement, right? I'm decreasing numbers. So I can either do increment by 1, I can either do increment by 2 or by 3 or by like anything. But since like from the beginning of time, programmers saw that increment by 1 or decrement by 1 is used a lot. So what they did, they created an operator. Actually, they created an operator named plus plus. That is a unary operator. It's a unary operator. So whenever you only want to increment a number by 1, what you can do, instead of writing the whole logic like this, num equals to num plus 1, what you can do, you can just write num plus plus, and that's all. So this is exactly same as num equals to num plus 1, because increment by 1 and decrement by 1 was like the most used operation. That's why they created an operator for it, and it is a unary operator. What do you mean by unary operator? Something that uses a single operand, like it is only using num, right? If you say plus, it uses two variables, right? A and B. So operator that uses two variables or two operands is known as a binary operator. Operator that only uses one operand is known as a unary operator. Because this plus plus is using only one operand, num, or like one variable, that's why this is a unary operator. So that's why this was discovered. And don't worry guys, for the people that know how plus plus and minus minus works, don't spoil it. Like, don't tell it to other people. Let them see step by step, because we are going step by step. We should understand why plus plus is there, why plus plus is invented, right? We should also understand that, like, we know plus plus is there, but we should know why it's there. If num equals to num plus 1 was working, why plus plus is there, right? Then why we don't have anything for increment by 2? Why don't we have anything for increment by 3? Right? Because plus 1 was the most used operation. Plus 2 and plus 3 are like rarely required, but plus 1 was the most used operation inside loops. That's why they created an operator for single increment and single decrement. Yes, num plus equal to 1 will also work fine, right? Because it's just an extension, right? So either you can go for this, or you can go for this, or you can go for this. Yesterday we saw this operator, right? Plus equal to. So it's totally fine. It's totally same. It totally depends on you. Again, it's a personal preference. No one forces you to use plus plus. It's just people use it because that's how they are taught. But you should understand that any of this is totally fine. You don't have to follow like something to just, okay, I only have to use plus plus. It's totally your personal preference. Okay, I hope it's understandable now. Now, even I use this because I was taught this way, but again, I'm just saying it's totally your personal preference, right? Are we cleared? Write num into console.log, then check, sir. I want to see what happens. The red god, yes, we have planned that. Don't worry. Yes, we can write. Yes, we can. Why can't we? We can write num. We'll just print the values of it. That's all. That's what we have planned. So don't worry. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take it to 10. So now if we have to take this to 10, because now we have written num less than 10, that basically means I'm going till 9, because at 10 it will become false. So if I want to make it till 10, what I have to write? Less than equal to 10, so that it goes till 10, right? And I'm printing the num now. So basically I'm printing the values of num. So first time it will print 1, then incremented, then 2, then incremented. So every time the value of num will change, and we are printing that in this case. So let's see. See now, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Okay. Okay, partially your doubt is, sir, when we use decrement operator, it will go to negative number. So will the checking go on? In this case, it will not. How it can? Like, it's a basic math, right? If I'm checking for less than 10 and I'm getting negative, how it will check? It will never check. That's like the basic thing, right? It will go on to negative because it is never gonna be less than 10. Like it will always be less than 10, right? It will never gonna be greater than 10 or equal to 10 to match to make the condition wrong. It will because if we go minus, it will always be less than 10. So it will again be infinite. That's all. Okay. So this is a very simple thing now. I hope you understand partially, right? Okay. Now see, we can how we can use this num actually internally. See, what can we do is we can just write multiplied by 2. So I know that num is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So what I did is while printing it, I actually multiplied it by 2. So what will happen now? 1 into 2. Next loop 2 into 2. Next loop 3 into 2. Next loop 4 into 2. So it's like a 2's table, right? It will be like a 2's table in this case. See, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. So basically, you just have to understand your variable, and now you can do any operations on it. Just don't change it. If you change it, then your increment decrement operation will be improper. So just don't change the value of num. Otherwise, use it for any operation, right? Just don't go on and like do this num equals to 30. It will change the whole thing, right? Your loop will be closed at the first time only because num became 30. So don't put anything inside the num if you know, like you should know what you're doing in this case, right? So if you put a value, then it is gone. So use it for any other operation, use it for operations, but don't change the value. If you're changing the value, then you should know why you're doing it, right? There should be some need. Okay, so this is how a while loop works. So this thing here, we know what it is. This is initialization, this is condition, and this is increment, or this can also be decrement, or you can say updation of the value. So initialization, condition, and updation, and that's all. Okay, Kajal is asking a very good question. What is the difference between plus plus a and a plus plus? Okay, that means that you have saw this thing, right? Okay, I'll also explain you. I'll just comment this loop out for now, and I'll explain what that is. Now see guys, there is something like this is again one question that is asked in interviews a lot of times. Let's say you have a variable num, right? So I've commented it, so I'm creating a new one, and let's say its value is 1, something like this. And now what I do is I say var a equals to num plus plus. And if you want, you can also do this, var a equals to plus plus num. So one is known as post increment, this is post increment, and this is pre increment. What is the difference? Let's try to understand. Let's do one thing, let's print both of them so that I can show you what exactly is happening, and then I can make you understand. So let's print a and let's print num both. So a is at the first, num is at the second. Now what is post decrement, oh sorry, increment? In this case what will happen, see, this is assignment plus increment. So here assignment is happening, right? So if you do post increment, the operation happens first, then increment is executed. The operation happens first, then increment is executed. Whenever you use post increment, the operation happens first and then increment happens. So in this case, what is num's value by default? Initially 1. So what will happen? 1 will be transferred to a, and then increment will happen and num will become 2. So a will become 1 and num will become 2. Because as I said, when you do post increment, first the operation will happen and then only increment will happen. That is what happens in post increment. First the assignment will happen and then increment will happen. So before increment, assignment will happen. In that case, what will happen? Because num is 1 before increment, so 1 will go in a and then increment will happen and num will become 2. So a will be 1 and num will be 2. Let's see. That's what happens in, see, we have 1 and 2 because a got 1. And now if I just go on and change it to plus plus num, now this is pre-increment. So in this case, what happens? First increment will happen, then assignment will happen, or the operation will happen. So now what will happen? First num will become 2 because it was 1. So after increment, it will become 2, and then assignment will happen. So now a will also become 2 and num will be 2, right? So let's see. We should get 2, 2. See it here? We got 2, 2. So this is the only difference. That's all. That is the difference. Very simple, very easy. So I hope you understood, guys, right? Okay. So now let's move ahead. I'll just remove all of this. Okay. And I'll just uncomment this. Okay. Let's keep this uncommented. And now one more thing, guys. One more thing. While loop is also known as an entry control loop, right? It has just it's like it has another name where like that is rarely called. It's also known as entry control loop. Now why it is called entry control loop? Because it first checks the condition, then executes the output. So even like if at the first place only the condition is wrong, it will never execute. If at the first place only the condition is wrong, it will never move ahead. So because it first checks the condition, then executes the statement, then executes the code, that's why it's called entry control loop. That's all. You'll never use it, but just have to know. If someone says okay, apply entry control loop, you should know what is the meaning of entry control loop, right? Now The second loop that you have is another entry control loop, that is a for loop. So you also have a for loop. Now, what is the difference in while and for? So again, first of all, both are entry control. That basically means both will first check the condition, then execute the statement. Now just have to understand, whenever I say entry control, that basically means first they will check the condition, then they will execute the statement. But the only difference is the syntactical difference, the difference in writing. The operation is totally same. Only difference is the difference is writing. So now see, in while loop, because inside while loop you can only write condition, that's why initialization has to be done before writing the loop. In for loop, they say that if you want, you can do the initialization inside this only. So like this, where num equals to 1, then put a semicolon. You can also write your condition here, like, okay, num is less than equal to 10, and put a semicolon. You can also write your increment decrement statement here, so you don't have to create any mess inside the code. Inside the block, you can only write your code. No increment decrement statement, no initialization before the loop. You can do all the three important things: initialization, condition, and updation inside the same bracket. That's all. So that is it. It's again the same thing. It will work same as while. First it will initialize. This will only happen one time. Then it will check condition. Then it will come inside, execute the code. Then it will again go up, increment, and then again check the condition. So it will work same as while loop. It's just you can write everything in a single line. That's all. So that's the difference here, and that's why whenever there is a, like, if you have a need of writing an entry control loop, you always go for loop, because it's much more cleaner and easier. So console.log, again I can do same thing. I can print num. So see, now the block is much more cleaner because you don't have any increment decrement operation. All the operations that you have are inside the same bracket. That's all. Yes, Nanta, that's totally fine. You can initialize before for. That is totally fine. Then when you initialize again inside it, it's just a new initialization, or it's just a new value. Like, it's totally fine. You can go on here. Like, that's a syntax. So if you skip it, that will become wrong. So if you do this, and then again do num equals to 1 here, the num's value will be changed. So it's totally fine, right? But you're using for because you wanted to initialize it inside, right? That's why we are using for. Otherwise, we should have done while. So that's what you have to understand. If you want, you can just do anything before the loop. It's just why we are using for, because we wanted to initialize in the bracket and not before the loop, right? That was the use. So that's just it. You just have to get the use first. What is the exact use of it? Now let's see. Let's check it out if it is doing the same thing. Save it. It should give to 1 to 10. And here you go. Same as while loop. Don't worry, Praveena. Let's go one by one. Praveena, okay, I can't pronounce your surname. It's a little tough, but that's fine. Thavaraja. Don't worry. We'll go one by one. Guys who know a little bit, so don't worry. We are going one by one. We'll go one by one. I'll cover everything. I'll also make you understand what exactly is for each, and I also have some more functions that I want to teach you. But let's just go step by step, right? Let's just go step by step. Okay, so this was for loop, and now let's see the last one that I have wrote here. That is the do while loop. Now this has a lot of differences. So do while loop is also known as a exit control loop. Now you'll easily understand. Entry control is first check the condition, then execute the statement. Exit control is first execute the statement, then check the condition. Now how to write a do while loop? Let's see. Let's see. So what you do is you write a do keyword, then put up a block of code, and then write whatever code you want. So in this case, we can just write console.log hello. And again, we need an initialization in this case. So let's do initialization like var num equals 1. And now inside this, you can do your increment like num plus plus, same like while loop. It's just you don't write while at the first place. You write while at the end. So you can just write while, then num is less than equal to 10. Same thing. Same thing that I did in while loop, I didn't do while loop, but you just have to understand the difference is this is an exit control loop. That basically means this will execute the statement first, then it will check the condition. So let's see if it's, now see how it will work. I'll just go through with it one time. So let's see, num is initially 1. Okay, fine. No condition check. Directly do it. What? Print hello. And then increment num. Now num will become 2. I'll go out, check. Okay, check. 2 is less than 10. Yes, it's fine. Let's go again to the do. Again, console.log hello. Num increment. Num becomes 3. Come here. 3 is still less than 10. Again, go to do. Console.log hello. So it's working same. It's just repeating itself. That's all. So let's save it and see now. We should get 10 times hello. And here you go. We get 10 times hello, right? Now, let's do one thing. Let's print num here. Again, it will be same. I'm going to print it 1 to 10, right? Now, what exactly is the difference? So as I told you that what while loop does, it first checks the condition, then execute the statement. So as I told you that if the condition is wrong at the first time only, it will skip everything. Nothing will be executed. But the case is different in do while loop. Let's do one thing. Let's make this num 40. Now we know, we can see it, the condition is wrong at the first time only. The condition is wrong at the first time. But since it is a do while loop and it executes first, it will at least execute one time, right? Because it is getting executed first, right? First do is happening. I'm printing the num, then I'm incrementing the num, and then I'm checking the condition. And then it is wrong. So loop is like cancelled, but still it worked for the first time. So do while loop will always work for the first time. Do while loop will always work for the first time because it is entry exit control loop. It does not check the condition at the first place, right? So this is basically the difference between a while loop and or basically entry control loop and exit control loop. Now you can say like what is the use, right? So I can't tell you directly because you'll not understand it, because there are a lot of games made based on do while loop. But let's say you have a thing like this where there is a need of doing the operation first without checking. First do the operation, right? There are a lot of places where you need to do it first, do the operation, and then at the end you have to check the condition. Like let's think of this. When you start playing a game, right? So first it directly lets you play the game, and then it asks you, do you want to exit or do you want to play again? Then if you say play again, loop is like run or executed again, and it again lets you play the game. Then again ask, do you want to continue the game or do you want to end the game here? So you can again say, I want to play the game. It will again let you continue. So that game is in loop, but it is in do while loop. That's why it lets you play first and then ask, right? We never get asked like, okay, at the first time only, do you want to play or do you want to exit? First, when you enter the game, you start the game, you directly play the game. Then at the end, it asks for the condition. Do you want to play or do you want to exit now? So that game is in the loop and the condition is getting checked at the end. Either you want to play or not. It is true or false, right? So that is like one example of do while loop that I'm giving you. If it was a while loop, you can still achieve it, but in that case, it will be a lot tougher. The code will become big. Then with the loop, you also have to write if, right? Because you want to execute the loop, then you want to again check the condition. So again, you have to write an if for that, right? So that's where do while loop works. When you want the user to do the things first, then you'll ask for the condition, right? So in that case, you use do while loop, right? Actually, I can give you an example. Let's do this. So let's say num is 1, right? Okay, let's not say num is 1. Let's say num is 0. Okay, and let's just say, I'm just giving an example, please see. Right now we don't have any option of taking input from user, so I'll just give values by default, so don't worry about it. So okay, this is playing game. So this is, let's say, the game playing code, right? It can be a bigger code. Now at the end of the game, you're asking, do you want to play again, right? And now let's say by some means, what I do is I take value inside the num. Either I want to play or not. So let's say value 1 is I want to play. Value 0 is I don't want to play. Now we are not having any like input taking from user. We are not taking any input from user. So let's say I directly put it. So I put 0. That basically means I don't want to play. So what will happen? See what I'll write here. Run the loop only if num equals 1. Right? Now run the loop only if num equals 1. But you know, first playing game will happen. Then it will ask me, do you want to play the game? Then what will happen? Num will become 0 because I said I don't want to play. So what will happen? Exit, because num is not equal to 1. Num becomes 0. Let's see. See it now. Playing game. Do you want to play again? And exited. Only one time execution. Like you cannot see the whole game thing here because it's just very lame example, but it's exited. Now see, let's go on and put 1 here. Now it will keep the game continuous. It will keep the game continuous. Like this is not the very perfect example, but it is something because right now we don't have any option of taking input from user. That's why I'm just doing it by myself manually, 0 and 1. Now see, if I say num equals to 1, see, the game will be played again and again. I'm in infinite loop now. It is getting played again and again. See, the browser has hanged because I'm in infinite loop again, right? So that is what happening. The game playing is happening again. It is not stopping me to ask because I have entered it manually. I have hard coded the value of 1 and 0. That's why it is not stopping and asking me, but it will ask. If I give that feature of asking me to take the input, it will ask. But right now you can just understand it like this. So that's what happens. So it's just a very lame example because right now we don't have a lot of features so that I can actually prove you. But in future, I'll definitely show you the way of when we learn how to take input from user, I'll definitely show you how this works. So don't worry about it. So this is it. So let's again close the browser. Okay, it has hanged now. Now I cannot click it, but that's fine. See, just to show you what I've done. Come on, Zoom. Okay, I hope you understand now, right, guys? I hope you understood, Gaurav, right? I showed you just now how this loop controls how to exit. I'll actually also show you how to take input today only. Don't worry. Come on. Okay, don't worry, but let me do it from here. Hope it works. No, I don't want to quit 3. I only want to quit this one. Still not closing. I think the text character output was very big for the browser now to get an infinite loop. Come on. Go away. Just give me a minute. I hope I'm visible, right? My PC has not hanged. Am I visible and am I audible, guys? Please tell me.
Yes, sir, you're audible and screen is also visible.
Okay. Now this browser is actually creating problems. It is performing a lot of operations. It is also getting closed and the new tab is also opening. It actually internally now have 2 tabs. Come on. Oh, I'm closing the wrong one. Am I still visible, Vernie?
Yes, sir, you are visible.
Okay, then I can't see charts and everything. I think it has hanged now. Sanju is saying, can you apply break in loop? But yes, I'll tell you what is break. Don't worry. It does not it does not help you to understand loops. You just have to understand loops like how basically they work, right? Break does something else. So that is a different thing, right? And break is not always used in loop. It is used in a lot of other statements too. Okay. Just give me a second, Vernie. I think I have to close it for a minute. Okay, guys, I think I'll just go away for a minute. Let me just come back. I think now my mouse is also hanged. I can't see it running.
Hey guys, how was the assignment? I hope everybody did it. It was quite easy, no? Yeah, I see a lots of messages. Good. Wow. Yeah, I think we'll have quiz after this topic, I think. Sir, do we have oh, wait a second, guys. I think we have quiz after this. Don't worry. Wait a second. Sir is having some problems. Sir will join in a second. It's okay, guys. If you submit it in the submission link, every assignment will be watched. Don't worry. Niharika, what are you talking about? Which questions? The red god, like you completed the assignment, right? You submitted it, no? We'll execute and we'll look into it. Oh, you can submit it before the course ends. Don't worry. Guys, if you haven't like filled the attendance, please fill the attendance. I'll post the link again. 1 second. Siddharth, it is in the community. Please go check. You will find assignments there. It's okay. It's okay if you haven't done the assignment. You can do it later and submit it. Guys, if you have not attended the before lectures, you can go check it out in the Let's Upgrade YouTube channel. You can see them. There is no deadline for the assignment. You can submit it on or before the course ends. Yeah, you can do it from phone also. Your convenience. Others, it is in the community. Go check it out in the community link. I'll post it.
Hello, Vani. Am I visible? I had to
Yes,
restart.
sir. Yes, sir. You are visible.
Okay, then let's. Okay, I'm live, right? Share my
Yeah,
screen,
yes,
please.
sir.
Good. Hello, guys. I'm sorry. I had to restart, and all because of you, because I wanted to show you infinite loop, right? Let's start then. So I hope you understood the infinite loop concept now, right? It hangs your browser, so you have to manage it when you use it. It's very dangerous thing. So that's fine. That's fine. A sacrifice for infinite loops. Okay, let's just comment this out. So I hope you understood the all three loops, right? Now let's move ahead. So are we having anything in loops, guys? Have we understood everything? Okay. Now we're going to use loops a lot when we actually work in DOM manipulation. We are definitely going to use loops a lot. So yes, we will use them. So I hope you understood everything. That's what you have to remember. And I'm also going to show you two different ways of loop, two different loops actually. But that loops you can only use when you have arrays with you. That's why our next topic in here is arrays. And that's again one of the most important topics in programming, right? So let's see what it is. And it's actually very easy. It's not tough at all. It's very easy thing. Okay. So now let's try to understand what exactly is an array. So let's just see a very simple definition. Array is nothing but a collection of elements. Collection of elements of same type is known as arrays. Just that's it. This is what you have to remember. Collection of elements of same type. That's it. Right? Okay. So when I say collection of elements of same type, that basically means it can be a collection of numbers, it can be a collection of strings, it can be a collection of characters. Let's say if you have a collection that contains numbers, strings, characters, booleans, then in that case, that is not an array. That is just a collection, a normal collection, right? But when there is a collection that has all the elements of same type, that everyone is number, every element is a string, in that case that collection becomes an array, right? And in programming, whenever you want to create an array, the syntax is always using square brackets. So round brackets or parentheses for functions, remember, for functions, and square brackets for arrays. So basically every bracket denotes different things. So you have to use square brackets whenever you want to create arrays in JavaScript. Now, what you can do is you can just do this var ele, or you can just say arr. This is the name of the variable that is going to hold the array. That's why I can say arr is also an array. So in JavaScript, if
Excuse
you
me,
want to
sir.
create an array, yes,
Sorry
please.
for the interruption. Before moving on to arrays, can we do a small quiz on conditional statements and for loops?
Okay, yes, we can do it.
Okay, sir. Like I'll share the quiz link in the chat.
Dave question is, sir, how does JS work in browser offline? Yes, but it will always work, right? Because the code is in your PC only. See, we go online or we go on internet because we want to fetch something from outside that we don't have in our PC. But if we have the code in our PC, if we have all the things in our PC, then there is no need to go online, right? Browser is with you, browser is in your PC, code is in your PC, then the browser does not require internet to run it, right? So that's what it is. You only go on internet or on network because you want to fetch something from the internet. You require something from the internet because you don't have it in your PC, right? That's how browser runs JavaScript offline, sorry, because JavaScript is in your PC, right? Okay, guys, the first quiz has been shared to you. Please go on the link and complete that very fast, right? It's very easy, I feel. So it's on conditional statements and loops, so I think you can complete it. So just go on and try to complete it very fast. And if you see, so there are a lot of, like, there will be questions. So if you are unable to solve anything, not a problem at all, just come back, that's fine. It's just for you to have fun. So just go on, check it out, and come back fast. Do we write? No, 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 not at all. The red god, you can name it anything. I can name it my name, I can do anything. It's just I wrote it right now because I'm creating array, right? I'm just creating a very simple array. In future, we name our arrays depending on what kind of data I'm storing in. Let's say I'm storing a lot of student names. In that case, I'll name it students, right? Let's say I'm storing a lot of plant names, then I'll name it plants. Let's say I'm storing account names, then I'll name it account names. So I'm just like creating a very basic array. That's why I named it ARR, but you can name it anything. Remember, variable names should always be named after what is the importance of that variable and what is the use of that variable. So that's how you have to think of the names, right? Any offline app, your browser, Nanta Kumar, your browser will run the JS offline in the mobile. Again, the browser with you, just go on the Play Store, install any code editor, and just write JavaScript and run it in your browser. Run that file in your browser. That's it. That's totally it. Go on Play Store, download an editor, right? Write the code, save the file, and just go on the location and select the file and say open with Chrome. It will run it. That's all. Pertu, once we finish essentials, then don't worry. Okay, if it is there, not a problem. Just skip it. That's fine because I actually don't know what are the questions, right? So don't worry about it. Just go with it. You'll understand everything, right? So that is just for you people to have fun. So just go have fun and come back. We're going to learn, continue, and break. So don't worry. Try to refresh Kavya, maybe it will work. And if it does not work, don't worry, don't get panic. That's fine. That's great, Amit. Do it fast, everyone, so that we can complete arrays today. I also want to show you one more kind of loop, right? At least one more. A lot of offline editors are there, Ananta. I think like I actually don't remember because I used it quite a time ago, maybe 3 years or 4 years back. But if you go and search for JavaScript editors, I think a lot of options will be there. Just try something with the highest rating. That's all. I know, Akash. I know. Don't worry. I know it takes a little time. We'll try to put smaller ones now. I'll ask people. I'll ask uh, the person who makes the quiz. We'll try to put smaller questions. Don't worry. I think we have 7 sessions, Sanket. That's why I'm trying to be a little fast so that we can complete at least the very important ones, very important topics. Then in advanced JS, we have a lot of things. We literally have a lot of things. Maybe the things that you people like never knew that happens in JavaScript. So we have that kind of things in advance.
Guys, deadline for the assignment, you can find it in the assignment page
Yes,
only.
it is very, very, very useful. If you go for web development, it is very useful. And nowadays also for Android app development and iOS app development, because now you also have React Native. That is again a framework of JavaScript. And nowadays it's actually in like high demand, React Native. Nowadays, a lot of people are creating Android and mobile apps in React Native. So yes, It is important and it is there in MNCs, yes. But it's like what kind of job you opt for. Like if you go for C# development, in that case, they may not give you JavaScript jobs, JavaScript tasks, right? So it's again depends on what kind of job you go on for. Yes, Pawan Kumar, we can use JSS backend, and that is exactly like we have codes for that. Yes, after the advanced.
Sir, can we like move on? There are most of the students have completed the quiz, it seems.
Okay. Om Prakash is
Thank you,
asking
sir.
how to comment all the code at one time. What you have to do is, Om Prakash, you have to select first. So just like I know, I just hope that you know how to select. So let's say you have a lot of lines. So you just have to select and then control/. That's it. That's what you have to do if you want to comment multiple lines at once. Okay. So I hope Om Prakash, you got your answer. It's okay, Hassan. I think I have to check the quiz one time, but that's fine. Yes, Shreya, I told you, right? It's very, very important for MNC. Yes, yes, it is very important. But it again depends what kind of job you do in that company, right? Are you a web developer? Are you a mobile developer? It depends on that and what your company is using, right? Some companies don't use JavaScript for mobile development. They go for Swift and they go for Java, right? So again, it depends. Yes, Terminator, we can also use /* and // but in that case, you have to go and write it yourself. So it's better to use the shortcuts, right? Okay. Okay, guys, let's move on then. Let's start with array. Shreya, I think I gave your answer, right? It is very important for MNCs. Please stop spamming the chat, Shreya, please. Yes, Sanju, we can. We can. Okay, guys, let's move ahead now. I think everyone is here and everyone has completed the quiz. And even if you don't like have got wrong answers, not a problem at all. Shreya, please stop spamming the chat. Otherwise, we have to block you. Please. I have gave you the answer, right?
Sir, we'll move on to arrays.
Okay, then
Can we?
let's start, guys. Let's start.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, then. So again, as I said, that what are arrays? Arrays are nothing but collection of elements of same type. The first thing, that means basically it's just a collection of a lot of data of same type, right? And to create an array in JavaScript, just create a variable equals to square brackets. Now inside square brackets, you can store multiple elements, and basically square brackets denotes array. Almost in all programming languages, whenever you want to create an array, you use square brackets. So now you can do something like this: 23, one element, and you have to separate your values with the help of comma. 56, second value; 78, third value; 90, fourth value; 34, fifth value. So this is basically an array having 5 elements. And why this is an array? Because all the elements are of same type in this case, right? Okay. Now we have 5 elements, but the name of all the 5 elements is same. It is ARR. So even if I want to access one of it, I have to use ARR. Like, say, first of all, if we don't know array, what we have to do if I want to store 5 elements? For 5 elements, I have to create 5 variables, right? Normally, to store 5 elements, I have to create 5 variables, and then I can access any variable and get the value. In this case, I have 5 elements, but the name for all the 5 elements is same, ARR. So now we have to understand how to access any particular element inside the array, right? How to access any particular element inside the array. So now you have to understand, whenever you create an array, there is a numbering allotted to each and every element. There is a numbering allotted to each and every element, and by that numbering, you can access any element. That numbering is also known as index. So basically, all the elements have an index, and by that index or by that sequential numbering, you can access that element. And the index in array starts from 0. That basically means inside this array, 23 is on the 0th index. The numbering 0 is allotted to 23. Then 56 has the index 1. The numbering for 56 is 1. Same for 78, it's 2. For 90, it's 3. For 34, it's 4. Starts from 0. Always remember, for an array, the numbering or the indexing always starts from 0. So now let's try to access an element by its numbering. So let's try to print it actually. So console.log, and let's say I want to access 23. Then I'll write ARR, that is the complete array, but I only want to access the first element. So again, apply square brackets, ARR, then square brackets. That's basically, you can say like ARR of the index, that is 0. So I'm saying I want to access the 0th element inside ARR array. So that is 23, right? Yes, Hassan, var basically says it's variant. Exactly. Now in this case, it basically says that if you want, you can also store a string array here. If you want, you can also store a Boolean array here, right? So the elements type that are present inside the array can be changed at any time, right? That is what it is. Yes, exactly, Prashant. Array and list are same, exactly. Yes, Terminator, you can do that. That is allowed in JavaScript, but that in this case, you're violating the rules of an array. That in that case, it will work. It will work for you because it is JavaScript. It does not give you any errors for that, but that is not the standards. That is not the proper thing to do. That is something you don't do, right? But yes, if you do it, it's fine. It will work, but you don't have to do that. Yes, Hassan, you can use that, but as I'm saying, that's not the standard. There are some rules you have to follow. See, JavaScript is not getting strict towards you. If you do that in C, it will give you an error. JavaScript is not getting strict towards you, but still you have to follow the rules of programming, right? And as I told you, what is the definition of array? Collection of elements of same type. If you don't have collection of elements of same type, if you have collection of elements of different type, in that case, it is not considered as an array. It's just a collection. You can still use it, but it's not an array. That's what I'm saying. Okay. Okay, then let's start. Let's move ahead. So let's see if I'm getting 23. See, I'm accessing 0th element from ARR. So you can call it like ARR of 0. ARR of 0. 0th element of ARR. ARR is the array. Okay, let's see it. Let me get the browser for you. Okay, and let's run it. Oh, I have to copy the path again. So let's go on second.html, copy path, paste it. Yes, Dragon Boys, you can store it. As I'm saying, you can store any kind of value, right? You can store booleans inside an array, not a problem. Yes, Aditi, we can use any other type. Yes, but then in that case, you have to go for like proper ES6 JavaScript. Yes, we have types in JavaScript. When we write TypeScript, that is basically a superset of JavaScript. In that, we actually write types. But yes, there is no need of writing types in JavaScript at first place. You don't need it, right? Because you can still store values properly. So there is no need, but if you feel you can use, that's totally fine. Okay. Okay, guys. So this is how you do it. See, I can access 23. That is basically the 0th element. Or if you technically say it's the first element, like not technically, if you normally see it's the first element, but we know the first element of the array is on 0th index. So remember this, right? Now, let's say if I want to change the value. So just like how you change the value of a variable, you can also change the value of an array. You can say, let's make ARR of 0 equals 45. So now what will happen? 23 will be replaced with 45. Now if I print the same thing again in the next line after replacing, see. So you can use this just like a variable. ARR of 0 can be used just like a variable. And what I did, I replaced the value that was 23 previously with 45. And now I can see. Let's see the change. See, previously it was 23 and now it is 45. That's it. Okay. So are we cleared, guys? Yes, the red god, that is not an array. Exactly. That is a collection. That is a collection. Yes, it is a collection of elements, but it should not be considered as an array because the English definition or the normal definition of an array is it should have the same type of data. Okay. Yes, Terminator, it will also work on const. Yes, yes, it will also work with const. Okay. So I hope now we are cleared. So this is how you change the values. If you want to change it like with a single line, this is how you do it. You can also do it for this ARR of 1. Like let's say ARR of 4. So basically 34 will be replaced. Let's see, let's print it. So see, error of 4 was 34, but I changed it to 45, and now I'm printing it. So now let's comment this, and now you can see error of 4 should be 45, and yes, it is, because it was, if I don't write this line, it should be 34, because initially I made it 34. See, error of 4. How to set the ascending order, Nanta, that is something like, see, we have just started learning arrays, right? So that is like a question when we first learn how to iterate arrays, how to loop with arrays, right? So that is the question. That can be a question. But you understand, right? You people understand that we are going step by step, right? So you just have to understand, we have to go step by step. We have just started learning arrays. Let's first learn how to iterate it, how to use it with loop, and then we can go for ascending order, descending order, sorting, and all sort of stuff, right? That will add an element, Paushali. That will add an element. Paushali, that will add an element. Yes, yes, I will show everything. What if I will give out of index number? It will just give you undefined. Sanju, it will just give you undefined or null. Let me check actually. Let's check ARR of 10. See, now we don't have ARR of 10. So let's see what we get. I think we should get undefined or null. Maybe it will be undefined in this case. Yes, it is undefined because it is not there, right? It's simple. Okay. Now, let's see one thing. Now see, what if, people please focus now. What if I want to print all the values of an array? So I can do something like this, right? Console.log ARR of 0. Now this is for everyone who are also starting from 0. Please focus. I can do something like this, right? Console.log ARR of 1, then ARR of 2, then ARR of 3, and then ARR of 4, right? By this, we can print all the values of an array. See, 23, 56, 78, 90, 34. But what if I have thousands of values in array? Then I have to write this console.log thousands of times. But we have learned something where if I want to execute a same kind of code again and again, I can use that. And that is loops. We have learned loops that basically help us to execute a same code or repeat a same code again and again. And if you focus, you can see that this code is same again and again. Only the thing that is changing here is this value. It is going from 0 to 1 to 3, and this is the increment, right? And we know that if needed, we can also perform increment of a value inside the loop. So that's it. Loops are used for iterating same code again and again, and we can see that this code is almost same every time. The thing that is different here is only the values are incrementing, and we know how to increment a loop, element's value in loop, right? We know how to increment a variable's value in loop. So what are you waiting for? If we want, we can do this with a loop. It will be get repeated again and again, so that I don't have to write it 10 times, 5 times, or 1,000 times. So let's do it. Okay. So let's apply a for loop. That is very easy, right? So again, for, let's write var num. Now let's, instead of starting it from 1 that we did already, let's start it from 0. Now there is a use for this. Then let's do num is less than equal to or less than 5, and then num plus plus, right? Now we know that this loop will go from 0 to 4 because I'm going only till less than 5. Or let's do one thing. Instead of less than 5, let's write less than equal to 4. So now we know that it will go from 0 to 4, right? If I print console.log num, what will happen? It will print 0 to 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you see, if you remember, this is what we need. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But not directly inside a loop, inside an array. So what we can do now, we can just write ARR of. Now we used to write 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, right? Instead of writing numbers, let's use this num variable directly. So now what will happen? Initially, num will be 0, right? Will come inside. Okay, first initially num will be 0, then it will check. 0 is less than 4? Yes. Come inside, print array of num. And what is num? Num is 0. That basically means it is array of 0. So it will print 23. Then num will be incremented. Num will become 1. Is 1 less than 4? Yes. come inside. Array of num now is 1, right? So array of 1, print 56, and same will go till 4. That means I'll print 78, 90, 34, and then num plus plus num will become 5. And if I check 5 is less than equal to 4, no, false, loop exited, and all the values are printed. So you just have to think what is the length of your array, how many elements you have inside the array, and depending on that you can do it. Astha, yes, it works, but not everyone knows that, right, Astha? Again, I'm saying we are going step by step, right, Astha Goyal? So yes, that thing length exists, but right now not everyone in the chat knows it. So let's go step by step, right? So let's see it first. And yes, we are printing the values 23, 56, 78, 90, and 34. Shreyas, if you print console.log ARR, it will directly print the array. So that's what will happen. See, if I just comment this out. So I hope you guys understood, right? How to use loops to print the values for array. Guys, everyone? HM classic cartoon, it will create an index named 10 and it will store 14 on that. Yes, it will work. Yes, Terminator, you can have arrays in arrays. Yes, you can have arrays in arrays. Yes, Sanju, you can delete it. Yes, you can delete. Amit Patil, document.write is used to print or to write or to show something on the web page, but we are not using it because it's not a good thing to use. I know that is the first thing that is taught in schools or colleges, but that is not the thing that you should use. And also tell you the problem. What is the problem with that? Don't worry. How can we put condition? If you know there are 1 lakh elements, just put 1 lakh here. What is the problem? Right, Nanta? If you have there are 1 lakh elements, you can just write the 1 lakh here, right? But guys, now if you don't know how many elements you have inside the array, let's say your array is dynamically getting produced, right? Let's say my array is getting values from internet or from somewhere else. So I don't know how much values it is getting. It can get 10 values, it can get 1,000 values, it can get 50,000 values. So if I don't know what is the exact length of my array, what I can do here is I can directly use this ARR, the array name, and it has a length property. Internally for all the arrays, there is a length property available. So you can just go on write dot length. An array dot length, see, length of an array is always counted from 1. So now in this case, how many elements do we have inside the array? 5 elements. So length of the array is 5. So if I use this, it is now num is less than equal to 5. So do one thing, remove the equal to, so that it only goes till 4, because we know the last index of the element is 4. If the length of the array is 10, the last index will be 9, because indexing starts from 0, but length starts from 1, right? So you should always have to go less than length, not to the actual length, right? Because length is always something that starts from 1 and index always starts from 0. So it will always be 1 less, right? So that's all. So you can use this. So all the arrays have this property. Whenever you create an array, length is a property there. So now you can just run it and it will produce the same output. And here you go. So now don't care about it. If you go and just add elements, that's totally fine. Still works. You don't have to change anything inside the loop. Still works. 34 is 2 times because we have two 34s. You can see it here. That's why it's 2 times. So don't worry about it. Okay. Are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? Ayush, is Phoenix, is there a length function? Is there a length function available? I have never used it. Do we have a len function available? I don't know that. Do we have a len function in JavaScript? Let's see if it is there. No, len is not a function, right, Phoenix? Okay, so are we cleared? Hassan, see, it is something that is inbuilt. Array index is inbuilt. You can manipulate your number, but you cannot change the index, right? You can do something like this. Start from 1, but yes, as I'm saying that index always starts from 0. You cannot change it and make it 1. Start with 1. So for that, let's say if you're starting from 1, you have to make it something like this, -1 here, num -1. So that 1 minus 1 becomes 0, 2 minus 1 becomes 1, 3 minus 1 becomes 2. So always, whatever your number is, I am going 1 less. so that it starts from 0. So see, you can do something like this if you want to start from 1, but you cannot go on change a inbuilt property that is in JavaScript, right? Shreya, that is how it is made. Array 0 से क्यों start होता है? That is how it is made. That's what the programmers thought, and that is how it is made, right? So that's it. That is just the inbuilt thing. That is how it is made, right? Okay. Are we cleared, guys? Are we cleared how to print arrays using loop? And if you want, you can also do it using while loop. And now I hope you can do it actually by seeing this. You just have to initialize a num with 0, then while num is less than array.length, and inside your while loop, console.log array of num and then num plus plus. You can also do it using while loop. Sir, which is better, front end development? Both. Shreyas, both. It totally depends on you. See, in full stack, you have to know a lot of things. In front end development, you only need to know JavaScript and HTML and CSS and a lot frameworks of JavaScript. So again, if you have limited technology, if you only know front end, you go for front end. So both are better. If you know full stack, that basically means you're also working on front end and also working on back end. So that is like more better according as a profession, right? Because you know both. So if you know a lot of things, you go for full stack. If you only know front end, you go for a front end developer. So there's nothing like what is better. It is like what you know and what are you mainly interested in, right? Okay, guys, are we cleared? Shantilal, you'll understand what is a property. Don't worry, you'll understand. When I say property, that basically means a feature. A feature. It's just like a feature. Property is nothing like a feature. Like this nose is my property. It's a feature that I have. This eyes is a feature. Exactly. Length is a feature of arrays. All the arrays have a length. That is a feature that is available to them inbuilt. So we can use it. Okay. Are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? It is index, the red god. It is index. See, we are starting from 0, right? It is working for index. Num is working for index. It is working for index. How to print in new line? See, we are actually printing in new line, right? See, this is not a C programming console that you have to go in new line. See, it is already printing in new line. Terminator use of backend, it's very important, right? Backend is some place where you actually store data that you get from user, right? You store data, you have databases, you write programs that interact with databases, right? And front end is something that you only see in the browser. But when you request for something that is when you request for some data that is present inside the server, so that is your backend. That server is your backend, which has a database where all the data is stored, and there are a few programs that you write that connect with the database and get the data for you or store the data for you. That is backend. Okay, are we cleared, everyone? Inside console, you don't have to do that. Inside console, you don't have to do that, right? That is not even important. Okay. Okay, then. Now let's move ahead. I'll at least give you a new thing today. Okay. So I hope arrays are cleared, right, guys? Arrays is cleared. And I also wanted to show you that, see, you can also do this. Like, let's say if you don't have numbers, let's say instead of numbers, you have names like this: Thor, Iron Man, Superman. If you have this, something like this, it's totally fine. Now I'll print these elements, right? So you can also have strings. You can also have numbers. Okay. Is it clear, everyone? So your array can have anything. Now, let's comment this out. And I want to show you one important thing, like one new thing actually. There is an inbuilt function in JavaScript named alert. And I'll show you what it does. See, if you say alert hello, please see very carefully. You have seen this on a lot of websites. See what this alert function does. It is an inbuilt function in JavaScript. See now what it does. Refresh. You have seen this, right? This page says, localhost says, or the server says, This is what an alert does. It's this simple to make this box, this dialog box that comes in the browser. So this is what an alert does, and this is a JavaScript feature, right? Are we cleared? Are we cleared, everyone? Yes, we have it, Pardu. Yes, we have that. Not exactly like that, but we have that. That new line feature, that everything, we have that. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, Varni, please tell me.
I think it's time up. Can we continue tomorrow?
Yes, yes, I just wanted to show them this, the last thing, just like
Yeah.
because we are going to start something interesting from tomorrow. That's why I just wanted to end this session with something interesting.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
If you not edit alert, Pawan, I'll show you what kind of alert is there that you can actually edit. JavaScript can also be used for backend and as well as for frontend. HM classic cartoon. Nope. I'll tell you what to use. For that thing, something is like when you want to pass input in this kind of dialog boxes, there is something else available. Don't worry. Or else you can also go and research after this, right? Okay. No, the red god pop-ups are done differently. Those are not alerts. Pop-ups are not alerts. Alert is just this. They are used for very small messages, and it is inbuilt in browser. Pop-ups, you make pop-ups. You write code for them. Alert is just an inbuilt feature of the browser. Okay. So Prosecco and it's gone. I hope everyone is cleared now. Maybe the lecture that we have after tomorrow, maybe we'll build it. If like it depends on how much we complete tomorrow now. Because first of all, the first thing that we have to complete tomorrow is objects, right? And after objects, I'm going to start with DOM manipulation. So surely maybe, what is the date today? 22nd, right? Okay, now the next lecture is on Monday, right? So maybe on Tuesday. Yes. No, the next lecture is on Saturday. Sorry. So yes, on Monday we're going to make a project. The first project will be making on Monday. Tomorrow we'll learn about DOM manipulation. First we'll learn about objects, then we'll move to DOM manipulation. Okay, and today's assignment and this file will be shared on the community, so you'll get it from there. So don't worry, guys. Don't worry at all. Yes, Dev Gupta, you can do that, but you should not do that. You can use strings and integers in the same array, but you should not do that. JavaScript allows it, but you should never do it. Shreyesh Bhumkar, JavaScript. JavaScript is very much trending. If you go on internet, you'll find this in top 2. You'll find JavaScript in top 2. Okay, so let's meet tomorrow. Please try to revise everything. I'm leaving you with alert. Do some research. See what are the other things that you have that behave exactly like alert. Just try to research something, right? And tomorrow we'll meet and see what are the boxes other than alert, and we'll move to objects, and then we'll move to DOM manipulation, right? Okay, guys. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. See you tomorrow, same time.
Uh, sir, before ending the session, I want to say something.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Guys, you have assignment. You'll find assignments in the community, and the link is in the description. Go to the community. You'll find the summary of today's class, and you'll find when you scroll down, you'll find the assignment link and assignment submission link and the deadline for the assignment in the same community group. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Vani. Vani, can I tell
So,
one
guys,
thing?
yes,
Can I
sir.
like, guys, if you don't know about the community, you just go on LetsUpgrade.in, sign in. You'll be in the community after that. There is a JavaScript group there, and you'll find all the things related to in that group. There is a JavaScript Essentials group there. It's not at all hard to find. Just go on community.letsupgrade.in. You'll find it there. There is a JavaScript group, right? So you just have to do a little bit of work, and you'll find it easily. Okay, Vani, you can continue now.
Guys, don't forget to fill the attendance, which is in the chat. It is pinned. And thank you, guys, for attending the session. Thank you, Saurabh, sir.
Thank you,
Okay,
Vani.
guys, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
See you tomorrow.